This is the 80s Show on iHeartRadio.
Say ho, ho, say ho, 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 ho. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Say ho, ho, say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Alrighty then. It's kind of an interesting one this time year. It's that anticipation, isn't it? That anticipation of being bent over without the benefit of lube by Uncle Scam. Yep, tax season right around the corner. People fretting. I look at my paycheck every single month and I figure I've got to have a wrong box checked. I really do. I don't know if you feel like I do in this particular situation, but I look at my paycheck and I'm like, I feel like I worked harder than that. And then I see the amount that Uncle Scam takes out for taxes and go, what? It's a whole other income. It's a whole other income that Uncle Scam takes out of my taxes. And I'm one of those people that have a hard time understanding exactly how many of my taxes benefit me. I'm one of those folks that talk on a regular basis about how I would probably be willing to pay double if I could decide where my tax dollars were going to be spent. That's a deal I'd be willing to make with the government. I don't know why they don't offer that. I think people would take them up on that particular situation. But yeah, that time that is right around the corner where Uncle Scam makes it abundantly clear to you just how much of your hard-earned dollars. He's like, yeah, I'll be having that. Is here. And what I suggest you do is you really take a good look at your paycheck. You really recognize just how much of your blood, sweat, and tears is being taken out of your pocket. And then you try for a moment to understand exactly where it's going. And then you go, wait a second, has any of this really benefited me? And I don't mean take that libertarian, pot-smoking, living in a bunker extremist approach and be in complete denial of everything that your tax dollars have, in fact, done for you. But really think about how much is taken from you and how it's spent and whether or not you want that. You're going to get angry. There's no two ways about it. You're going to get angry. Hold on to that anger and use it to remind you to take action when you're given the opportunity to do so, to get down on the field and play during these times where our next to useless government is pontificating how they can hang on to their positions by doing as little as possible and make it look like they're actually doing something for as long as they can. Use that anger. Use it when you vote. Use it when you take action. Use it when you speak up. Is it going to change anything in your immediate life? Will it make taxes go away? No. No, of course it won't. But it's important to remember. It's important to remember how you're being bled. You do it in a subtle enough way. A lot of people forget. A lot of people don't recognize the fact that they're being poked, prodded, jabbed, robbed of their precious bodily fluids little bit by a government that doesn't represent them, speak for them, or have their best interests at heart a lot of the time. And I'm not talking about whether it's not an R&D thing. It's not left or right. It's right or wrong. Not necessarily saying that the right is right. I'm speaking in broad, sweeping terms about people that would seek to go into politics. They are not to be trusted. And I'm not, like I said, this conspiracy theorist that's going to live in a bunker hoarding AR-15s. But every single time you hear about something that your government dictates that you're not happy with, remember what they take from you. Remember that you pay their salaries. You are a taxpayer. You are responsible for their lives, and you have a voice. And I think many people are swept up in the complacency of the culture at the moment, and they forget that we, at least in theory, live in a place where there is no taxation without representation, and you have a voice, and you should not be afraid to use it. You are encouraged not to use it on a regular basis. You are encouraged in this country to be a joiner, to not have a voice, to not be an individual, to just shut up, get in line, and vote. Never forget that you have a voice. Look at your taxes. Look at your pay stub. Look at what you wind up paying at the end of the year when you have all your taxes done. Look at what is taken from you. And remember, you have a voice because you pay to have a voice. Funkhauser, let's get into the news. What is going on in the world?
I was ill prepared for that one.
Yeah,
very ill prepared.
Got to it earlier.
Yeah, hold on here.
You know what it is? It's just I get angry. I don't want to. I was just like, oh, tax season. I was looking at my W-2 last night. I was like, son of a crap, that's a lot of money that was taken from me. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I just got mine in the mail too, and I haven't opened it up yet. I'm just, it's a toss between that and my 401k. What do I want to open up first, the plus or the minus?
Yeah.
So they both are sitting there.
It makes me angry, like it does, and I think it's important to hold on to that anger. When you're being bent over without the benefit of lube, you should be like, hey, I pay for that. Maybe you could just, spit on it before this happens, seeing as I paid for your services. Hey, speaking of spitting on things, did you hear the audio of Randy Quaid that Funkhauser is going to be playing this? I caught a teeny bit of it before we went on the air, but it is shocking and surprising, and not for young ears, by the way.
Now, a year in rock spotlight, 1968.
Born to be wild.
In January of 1968, Steppenwolf released their debut album, including the single Born to be Wild, which charts at number 2 in the U.S. Johnny Cash records 2 live shows at California's Folsom Prison, along with June Carter and Carl Perkins. Also in January, the Beatles are number 1 with Hello Goodbye. In London, they launched their own company, Applecore, with a store, a recording studio, and record label. February of 68, Pink Floyd lead singer Syd Barrett is checked into a psychiatric hospital, and the band replaces him with David Gilmour. The Beatles, Donovan, Mia Farrow, and others travel to India to study transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And Bill Graham opens the Fillmore East concert venue in an abandoned New York City theater. April of 1968, the musical Hair opens on Broadway for the first of 1,750 performances. It would spawn several top 40 hits, including Aquarius, Good Morning Starshine, and Hair. Simon and Garfunkel released their album Bookends, which goes to number 1 in the US and the UK. The single Mrs. Robinson would go to number 1 in June, thanks to the movie The Graduate.
God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson. Heaven holds a place for those who pray. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1968, coming up. iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to ask what he enjoys most about being an artist.
I think the songwriting, collaboration. I mean, I love the concerts, and it's great, but my real passion is writing new music and new songs. And there have been so many great moments for me.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Hey, you, what's that sound? Coming so loud from your radio dial. AD, be getting down when you're rocking the jams. Here I am, going back once again. I'm ruling all city like
So, this past Sunday just gone by, this past Sunday Super Bowl, in case you did not know, was the most watched show in U.S. TV history. Not the most watched Super Bowl, it was the most watched show in U.S. TV history. 114.5 million viewers. By the way, it shattered the previous record holder's record, which was, last year's Super Bowl. 112.2 million viewers. Even more people watched Katy Perry's halftime show. 118.5 million people tuned in for it, which also beat the previous record, which was once again set by last year's show with Bruno Mars. 115.3 million people watched that one. Now, why do I bring up these stats and statistics a couple days after the fact? Well, there's this whole thing where, those taxes that we were talking about, how we should be angry about paying. Yeah, the NFL doesn't pay those. And after racking up numbers like this for as considerable amount of time as the NFL has, a lot of people are starting to go, oh, now, hold on just a cotton-picking minute. Not for profit, you say. We'll dig into the whys and wherefores of that and whether or not you think the NFL should be paying taxes shortly. If you want to weigh in on the conversation, you can tweet me at 80SXE is where you can find me on the interwebs. And you can also tweet super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser at Funk FM. Right now, though, let's get into news with Funkhauser. Funkhauser, how are you? Also, what is going on in the world?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Nothing really new to report, I don't think.
Unless you're Randy Quaid.
I had a good weekend. How did you? We haven't talked since like Thursday.
Yeah. I had a conference call, having clawed my way to middle management of a large corporation. I had to be on an all-important national conference call yesterday. Yep, I did.
I saw some old stuff at a museum on Saturday.
Oh, did you go to the Holocaust Museum?
No, because I forgot that I was going to go on Sunday because it's supposed to be free museum week here, or weekend, but that only happened on Sunday, and Super Bowl was calling my name, so I couldn't do that. But Saturday, I went and saw the local Pasadena museum, the Norton Simon.
Oh, and, yeah? What's in there?
A bunch of old stuff. I saw a lot of Picasso and some ancient 300 BC, like Buddhist ruins and stuff. It's pretty cool, yeah. My girlfriend geeked out about it. She knew how to pronounce all the, long words. All the religious texts and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because she majored in theology?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I should know that, but I don't remember.
Religious studies or something of that nature. It was funny, Funkhauser invited me to go to the Holocaust Museum, and I really sort of have a fascination with the Second World War, as many people do, and specifically about the cult of personality that was Hitler and the tragedy and human cost associated with the Second World War. Like, if there's a documentary that comes on about it, there goes the day. I won't be doing anything. I'll be watching the whole thing. Doesn't matter. If I can soak up more information with regard to that, I'm gonna do it. But, like, Funkhauser invited me to go to the World War II Museum. And
on Super Bowl Sunday, I forgot.
Yeah. The wildly poorly worded phrase, "Oh, cool, I love the Holocaust," came from my mouth. I do not love the Holocaust. I love learning about the Holocaust. I think it is perhaps... It's just... You know what? When I do eventually bail on radio and go middle finger to the entire industry, I think I'll probably be going back to college to become a professor of religious history. Only because it's so fascinating. You can't think of a single thing in the history of mankind that has motivated more, that has caused bloodier wars. And that probably does similarly large amounts of good if you rack it all up. It motivates people to do things like you wouldn't believe, good and bad. Religion's fascinating. And it's fascinating because it's based on faith, and we are logical creatures. We are if-then thinkers. If I go up to the stove and touch it when it's hot, then it's going to hurt. We are if-then creatures. Yet, this logic that we require to accept anything in the world is completely bypassed when it comes to religion. Religion's all based on faith. Religion relies on an absence of proof, and we need proof to do pretty much anything else in our lives. In any other area of our lives, we require proof to take action. Not with religion. No proof whatsoever. In fact, a lot of people say proof. Well, the old argument posed by Douglas Adams would go, proof without faith